Getting ready.
Oh,
Getting
I
ready.
just leaked all over myself with my water bottle. Um,
Wait, are we going?
it's trying,
I,
but like I said, this Wi-Fi is absolutely horrible. I've been trying to send a
it's too
message.
windy. I know my computer was slow as
Yeah,
shit.
I mean it's still going. All right, we'll get there. Hold on, we'll get there. No, no.
Need a what? A rain?
What? That was a while ago. I told you my Wi-Fi is going slow. Oh, here we go.
Been waiting on one of these my whole
No,
life.
you guys didn't laugh at my little meme yesterday. That's different. Did you see it? Or is the Narcan too small? On the He is Risen, and I put a little Narcan. There we go. All right, all right.
I thought you're going to hell.
It says we're live. Look, I am so confused.
Are we live?
It says that we've been live, apparently.
People wouldn't.
So we were probably talking.
People wouldn't. They heard about your Narcan.
I stumbled upon it.
People wouldn't. Nyakit Janet.
Madawika. All right.
Pudamante.
Hold on, sorry.
Did the intro go?
Yeah, it says we've been live for 2 minutes.
No way. Well,
Yeah. What is happening?
Picadoos.
All right, hold on. Sorry, our Wi-Fi
Winna.
is terrible today.
Halito. Sio.
Once the hunted-ish.
Stongo. Stongo
Picadoos.
Oshkin Yacha.
Asi Thali.
Unsti Hunterish.
That one. Yata hey.
Jate. Katie told me white folks say yata hey.
I'm half white, so
It's yate.
Mm.
Mm-hmm. So good morning, good morning. I don't know what's up with our Wi-Fi, man. It's too windy out here. And we know it's Women's Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
We know this, but
this is the best you're getting.
Our ladies have decided to give you the best Women's Wednesday ever.
Yep. So
they're to back there doing research. They're back there asking each other questions.
Mm-hmm. They're not gonna have a whole
presentation. Yeah, that's all I heard.
Yep.
How you get your toes
Nails
did?
done, hair done. Yeah, that's all of it. Oh yeah, they're gonna.
Oh
that.
my, yeah. So just a little sneak peek into, what our Prevenger baddies are bringing to the table.
Self-proclaimed.
Yes. So, but yeah, here we are on this windy day. I was always told that when it's windy like that, that means that there's too much talking.
And here we are.
Yeah, I think that's always been my problem. No lie, I honestly feel like that's always been my problem. I don't know when to shut the hell up. So, but I got a question today for you Will Bridey folks. Somebody was asking me about the mind changers. They was like, one is liquid, one is the black book, one is the song, and one is the card.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I just wanted to put it out, see if I can get some answers, because it's one of our other PRSSs here in DOH, and they were wanting to know for their clients. And I didn't do the research like I should have. I can't remember right off the top of my head. So, why not read, we got
Dave. He's right there. All right, Dave, what are the mind changers? I said anything that changes the mind, and Barry wasn't happy with that answer.
No, not at all. Good morning, Shanna. Good morning, brother Dave. What did Dave say?
He said, bull. That was it.
I can't see, so I don't know why, but I believe that is exactly what he said. So.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so we had a good night last night. I guess you could kind of call it like a culture night for our Gord clan.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Theta learned how to do peyote stitch. You know, that's pretty cool. You know, she was pretty proud of it. You know, which you know I would be too because I can't even.
Thread the needle.
Yeah, I can't even thread the needle. You know, so I thought it was cool. You know, Nat came and taught like I think there's like three of them. I seen your mom
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and your step pops. They was over there talking about motorboating on her birthday.
That's why I missed it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Couldn't hear. Endure
Belinda,
that
I think
anymore.
Belinda was getting ideals from her.
Yeah, prepping her birthday.
Yeah. And it had a good meal. Beans and cornbread, can't ever go wrong with that. People call that a struggle meal. I'm like, man, that is like
Delicacy.
a delicacy. Like,
Mhm.
if I could, I would eat it every day.
Why can't you? You could do it.
No, I could, but but then Kendrick, Mr. Sweezy made some soup and fry bread. My grandma used to call that gisson.
Mm-hmm.
And man, I ain't had that, and it's been a while since I've just had meat and potatoes. That was pretty good, man. That was a real good meal. So yeah, my kids got to come, which it isn't very regularly that I get them on the weekdays. So it's their spring break. That felt good to just be able to, even though they look bored out of their mind.
Just wanted to use the Nerf guns that are up here.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
it.
Johnny was up there shooting around. But I mean, it that's the type of life that I live today.
Mhm.
And I'm very, very thankful for that. Just the opportunity. I sat down and I helped Cassandra's son Ruben make a drum. And that was pretty cool because I didn't think I could really do that because I'm blind.
I told you it's on your head. You think you're less capable. You're always like, Darian, help me. And then
He'll leave me.
yeah, and then and
He'll
then
leave me in the
I'll cave.
restaurant.
Yeah, and then I'll come help after you've deemed yourself helpless. But we know you're not. I
Well,
believe in you.
anyways, I do have an eye appointment tomorrow,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so I'm pretty excited about that. Maybe you know, uh, maybe get some direction on how this next treatment's going to go. So I'm pretty excited. Anybody else say good morning?
My Aunt Leah,
Good morning, Leah.
Lord Candy,
Laura,
Brother Drew.
brother Drew.
And then
People wouldn't know.
Medina.
Weapon knuckle. So yeah, it was pretty good day yesterday. I felt like the Trauma Tuesday. I felt like Dez did a good job. And I think it's more important that they just learn how to get comfortable
Mm-hmm.
and be themselves. Like I don't know.
Yeah, I mean we're too comfortable.
Yeah, we're
There
too
you go.
comfortable.
Every day I wait for the phone call to say to stop doing this live, but here
Y'all
we are.
for it. Hang it up.
Yeah, then we'll be doing it from our personal pages.
Yeah. Which is okay, because you gotta. I mean, I'm. You still got to be somewhat formal, I
Mhm.
guess. Act like you got a mama. Like. But I don't feel like I get to be my true self.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I'm like all foul or but my humor is like
Yes, it's
it's
native humor.
native humor.
Yep, it is.
So I mean, I always feel like that's the part that we are missing on this whole scheme of things. So
All right, so
but it
Dave
feels
has
good.
an answer. He says, "For me, the mind changes are alcohol and drugs. Any textbook that takes you away from our traditional way of thinking and living, rap music." And Don says the casino card. He says, "My personal belief is the CDIB card."
Wow, that's a good answer. I like that.
Mm.
I like that. Yeah. I got. It was a question that another peer sent me, and they work with some of our tribal clients. At George Hawkins. So I feel like that's a pretty good answer. So
So you're gonna
Makes a
copy
lot
and
of
paste it?
sense. Yeah, I'm gonna copy and paste it and
Just
treat
take
it
a
like my
picture of
own.
it.
Just put my name where Dave's name is.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's a good answer. I like that, brother. You know, that makes a lot of sense to me. But yeah, windy out there.
Super.
Super windy. Like that's
Yeah.
crazy.
I had to go jump on the trash can. I almost fell out of it because I got blown
You
over.
jumped on it.
Yeah, because like
Because it's
our
super full.
our trash can here is super full,
Our
so I had to
trash
go
can
throw a
is
bunch of stuff in
like
there.
our
jump on it.
dumpster is full to the brim.
Yeah, it almost blew me out of there. I was carrying a shelf, almost flew away with that. So pretty windy.
Good
Pretty
times,
windy.
man. I wish I would have got to see that.
Yep. Yeah. It was.
But
it was
where's Domingo?
Bingo's doing Goga
Goga
in Clinton.
with the George Hawkins clients.
Yep. And then
He'll be back around 4:30.
yeah, about 4:30 to leave, and then yeah, then tomorrow we'll be at the OKCIC
Turtle Camp. Yeah, Turtle Camp tomorrow. We get a 30-minute session.
He said,
Well, I'm not gonna be here.
yeah, we'll find something.
So good luck.
Mingo signed us up with no direction,
And he's
whatsoever.
not even gonna be there.
Yeah, yeah. So we got to find
Thank
out what
you.
to do.
Aho,
He's good to go.
Mingo. You got good ways, brother.
Yeah. And then another Mingo thing. He signed us up for the weekend.
Yeah, he signed us up this weekend and he's not gonna be there.
Yeah.
So that's kind of became our thing. Like, you can't accept, which we don't mind going to these places, but at least let us know what it's about, Mingo. And then when it comes time to like be there, oh, I'm not gonna be able to make it.
Hmm.
But y'all go ahead.
Yeah.
So I'm blind, so that's what I'm. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
So, I'm pretty excited about this Women's Wednesday. Sorry, they're back there game planning,
Yep,
and it's
they're
pretty
planning.
cool.
They got a blueprint. They got a PowerPoint going.
They got a PowerPoint
It's all-
going. What color are your toes?
Yeah.
I heard Theta asked Desiree, "Do you paint your little toenail on?"
Yeah. So make sure to tune in for this.
She was
It'll
like,
be a-
"No." She's like, "Well, you should."
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, should we go ahead and did anybody else have any comments?
Perry, Randy,
Perry,
Kendrick,
Randolph,
Shelly,
Kendrick.
Tatum, David,
Yuck,
David.
Stongo.
We got 3 Davids in here right now.
Which?
David Deere, David Levi, David Onzawa.
Oh, Mr. Onzawa.
Now we just need David Littlebun.
All
So everybody just
right.
tag the
Yep.
other David.
A lot of Davids.
Yeah. And then he said she gets a discount, no nail. Yeah, painting 9.
They said you get a discount, Desiree. No nail.
They're only painting 9.
Only 8. Only got 8 nails.
It's 20% off. Bingo just puts bruh.
We gotta, we just gotta tease him. We're
Mhm.
kidding. She's got a nail.
Yeah.
She's got 10 nails.
Look, Marcos is watching.
All right, Marcos.
Mhm. Ruth says it's
Good morning,
very
Ruth.
windy. Neighbor's tree fell on their house. Also saw a trailer flip and caused a truck to flip.
Wow.
Yep, it's all sorts. of
Yes,
crazy.
be careful out there. Don't even get on them roads if you ain't got to.
Yeah.
Mingo, hopefully, be careful, brother.
Well, I mean, he's just watching
Be
while driving,
careful.
like a maniac.
Watching.
Yeah, what a
Watching. He's
maniac.
supposed to be driving.
Yeah, he's over here tuning in, commenting, trying
Yeah,
to defend
comment.
himself. I'm like, what? I'm trying to get us in the field.
Yeah. Well, should we go ahead and read this? I'm trying to remember what the meditation was about when I woke up this morning and read it.
I'm just trying to get these banners to get it together right now. Oh, all right, there we go. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
Listo? Come. All right. There's a deep wound in people that they have been so cut off from the source of their being, their mother, their earth mother. Francis Story Talbot II. Medicine Story, Wampanoag. Uh, when we are connected to the earth mother, or when we are clear on our purpose, we will feel connected and safe. We will feel love. When we are disconnected from the earth mother, or we don't know who we are, why we are, we will feel pain. It will be similar to a little child who has lost its mother. We will hurt inside, we will be wounded within. If this happens to the whole community, the people will be very sad and lost. It will seem like there's is death in the air. When this happens, it is time for a ceremony and reconnection to God and Mother Earth. This is the time of prayer. Great mystery. Today, help me to stay connected to the earth and you, my creator.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Mhm, mhm.
You know what came to mind was, just maybe was what crossed my mind was when it says, losing that connection to the earth mother. When I thought, like when's the last time I even just walked around on the grass, barefooted? You might as well call me a tenderfoot because, like whenever I was a kid, like that was like I'm pretty sure they had to force me to where I started school, and I remember, like just having that innocence, just having, just being a little kid, before school. And I think about, how my life has been transformed. And, I moved to, I'm a, like, I'm from a little country town, in Western Oklahoma. I grew up in the red dirt. And then as I became a teenager, I moved to a bigger town, Oklahoma City. And it was like I lost all contact, with Mother Earth, pavement, concrete, like I really lost that connection. And I still went to ceremonies, tried to help out, at all the different ceremonies, taking part or whatever, going to sweats. Used to go to peyote meetings, and when I think about those types of things, I think about where we sit, and it's always on the ground, and then I think back to how our people used to live, you know, how they had that interconnection with Mother Earth. Everything they did was on the ground. You know, uh, they ate, slept. I mean, their whole life revolved on what Mother Nature was willing to provide. So it was like thinking about how I live my life today. Like I don't even touch dirt. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
at all. Like that's crazy to me because I've one time I had a friend named Chirp, and I watched him work on somebody, and all he had was a plate of dirt, and it was like he was blessing this person with the plate of dirt. And so when he got done, I asked him like, why dirt? And he said that's where all the good spirits are. And it made sense to me because like and I always say this, like if you go get a scoop of dirt, just a random scoop of dirt, and you feed it, you give it food, you give it water, you give it sunlight, like it's gonna give life on its own. Like something's gonna grow out of that dirt, grass, or like there's life inside of that dirt. And you know, to me that just shows me like the interconnectedness of Mother Earth and the Creator, the great one, the great mystery, Mahio, and it's like like then I think about it and there's dust everywhere. You know what I mean? Like there is dust, literally dust everywhere. And it just makes me think like Mother Earth and God are everywhere. You know what I mean? Like I don't know, like that's how I think today. You know, like um and I catch myself praying more and more for that connection. You know, like I was saying yesterday, instead of always just like, how can you help me, God? You know, and I understand that, you know, when a person's maybe needs that in their recovery, you know, they're still trying to figure things out and still need help making decisions and still trying to learn how to do the right thing when nobody's looking. You know, I understand that because I used to pray that way too. And do I feel like I'm healed today? Hell no. You know, like that's the last thing I would ever get on here and say is like I got this thing figured out.
You're done.
And yeah, I'm done. Like I'm not an alcoholic and addict no more. No, it's not that at all. I feel like I've just grown enough in my recovery where I can ask today, you know, like how can I help you? You know, like that's where my heart is. You know, that's where I find my purpose. And that gives me direction in my life. So you know, just thinking about, you know, today's meditation and like it's like I'm wanting that connection back with Mother Earth, you know, where all the good spirits live, where, you know, Mother Earth doesn't even need humans on it at all. You know, I think about all the damage and the poison, you know, all the things that we do, you know, for our own self, you know, like for our own comfortability, you know, like it doesn't, man, we are so far out of balance, you know, with Mother Earth. And if anything, I'm just grateful that I'm aware of that today. You know, I try to show my respect when I can for Mother Earth. You know, I'm not the person that I used to be. You know, I remember just like I didn't need no trash can. You know, I'd be going down the road and just throwing my trash out like it was nobody. You know, like it was somebody else's problem. But you know, today you when you learn how to love and respect yourself, you know, you learn how to love and respect these other things. And without Mother Earth, you know, like I can't even imagine. We wouldn't have no ceremonies. You know, I know that's for sure. You know, we would not have ceremonies. You know, with everything that she has to provide for us to, you know, do just about all of our ceremonies, to have that fire, you know, to do these different things that are important, you know, to, you know, us as natives. So I mean, I'm just rambling at this point. So
I think you dropped. Hold on. You're melting the carpet.
well, I guess I was
Yeah,
melting the
sorry.
carpet.
Barry was trying to melt the carpet. He
It was
dropped.
all right.
He put a piece of the coal on the ground.
It was all right.
I just saw it smoking by your feet. All
It
right.
was just Kapal.
No,
It stuck
it
to
was
my
it was the coal.
no, no. It was Kapal. Well, go ahead.
All right. Um, I think this meditation kind of reflects more for me on a lot of our youth are getting disconnected from, you know, our culture, our ways. Like I know it happened to me. Like uh, I would say like middle school, high
Is it
school.
raining? Mm.
Uh, and then, you know, because like I feel like whenever I was a little kid, I was always around, you know, the powwow circle or going around to, you know, camping and stuff like that. And then whenever I got a little older, it just seemed like, you know, you go through that teen phase where you're like, you'd rather not spend time with family, you'd rather spend time with friends and all that. But that's whenever you start losing sight of um, your culture and how it helps you connect with Mother Earth, with the Creator, and then you know, coming back after years and years, you like reignite or start that inner spirit that's like connecting with the culture and bringing that back into your life and giving you a little more clarity and a better relationship and sense of purpose with the creator. And it's something that we can all grow from. Is if you do feel a little disconnected, don't be scared to ask for guidance or ask for just to come out to any of these things, so that way you can relive um, these key moments that you may have remembered as a kid or may lost or may have never been exposed to. And so I think as natives we all have that kind of uh not a void, but like if you're disconnected you do feel a void, but it's always there around us. That's one thing that we need as our culture. It gives us that spirit. And yeah, that's all I got. Do you want me to read these for you?
Yes.
Okay, all right, hold on.
Good morning, Nadine.
Aaron says, come by the new Brahms and I'll hook you up with a drink. No burger, though.
Oh, Grandpa gonna hook it up.
Yep. And then Esther says, good morning.
Good morning, Nadine.
Carrie says, good morning. My mom
Morning,
says,
Carrie.
good morning.
Good morning, Leanna.
Pamela Woolworth says,
Good morning, Aunt Pam.
Tobias.
My brother, Toby.
David says, just really deep in the reflection, catching on fire because
I didn't grab no coal.
It was black, whatever I picked up, and it was smoking, so something.
It was Kapal.
It's not the first time we melted the carpet, though.
No.
Carmela melted it earlier. Earlier last year?
Yeah.
Yeah. David Onsawa says, your body has memory. For me, coming back was a reminder of how innocent I was when I was young at the ceremonies. Yeah, and then you get that, that nostalgia that...
Yeah. You remember them people that were
yeah.
around.
I remember just going to sleep in the tent out at Colony and still hearing, the drum going for hours and hours and hours. And then, it just sounds different out there compared to, being on an indoor little benefit dance or anything like that.
Well, also at Colony, it goes on till sunrise.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for all the comments. It's always a good thing just to think about. That. Because it just like when I think about it, like it really makes me want to take off my shoes and just go put my feet in the grass.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like just even that feels nostalgic.
Yeah.
But like I said, I'm a tenderfoot, so
yeah. Dave Levi said, take them Crocs off and let them dogs breathe.
Pamper them poodles.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, like I'll do that, and then I'll end up stepping on some spiders or something, but still worth it. My kids do it, but Ari's like allergic to grass, and so it's just the worst thing for her because that's all she likes doing, just running outside, rolling around in it, and just comes back in just the rashes everywhere. I'm like, oh. But she gets she gets a lot out of it, so it's all good. Ready for announcements?
Yeah, let's jump into these announcements.
All right. Talkspace is our telehealth counseling service that we provide for anybody 13 and up. To get this, you just go to www.talkspace.com/CHATOR. And that is whenever you sign up, it'll ask you for an organization. You will put Restore.
Restore gets it for free.
Yep.
Text TOR, TOR, to 888-580-4TOR. That keeps you in the loop with what we do as a program, gives you all of our meeting times and dates, and it makes you aware of what we will be doing as a Gourd clan. So it's a great tool to have. Shout out to Brand Logics, and yeah, stay in the loop. Groups here at 1950 South Shepherd. On Monday, we have a Men and Broken Hearts Talking Circle, which deals with grief. It's always a good meeting. I get the most out of that meeting. And then Thursday nights here at 1950 South Shepherd at 7 o'clock, park in the back, come through the back door. We have a talking circle open to the public. We don't ever want to leave anybody out. And then while that's going on, Tatum Escott's leads our kids. We gave our teenagers, their own space and their own talking circles, so they can, because a lot of parents bring their kids to these talking circles. So I think it's a great idea. And while that's going on in Weatherford, Oklahoma, at 7 o'clock at 810 East Cedar Avenue in at the Oxford House, they have a talking circle. So take advantage if you're in the Shady 580. And then on Friday nights we have a 12-step talking circle, which gets a little bit more in depth into the Wellbriety book, and a where you do a little bit more action where you put pen to papers. So
Mhm. Yeah, I think on their youth group tomorrow, I think they're doing painting.
oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Doing some painting.
I know
That's
we still
cool.
need to get a little mini robe for them.
I know, right?
Little prairie dog.
Little baby, little
Uh,
little baby robe.
yeah. March 25th, we will be at the Watanga ERC from 3 to 6 with the Pathways event, which is Elders Traditional. We will be making hand drums. There will be a bunch of resources out there, a lot of activities. So come out to the ERC on the 25th.
25th.
And then that Thursday on March 27th, we will have speaker night
Speaker night.
with our guest speaker, Andrea Alexander.
Yes, she has a great story. She's a great person, and she's also a good friend. So I'm really really happy that we get to learn a little bit more about her experience, strength, and hope. I heard her story last year at the Wellbriety conference, so she's pretty well known. Through Oklahoma and across the United States. With the work she does for Wellbriety. So I feel honored that we get to have her at our meetings. So
Yep. All right. We'll do. All right. Recovery housing assistance. So here at TOR, we are able to provide housing assistance for tribal members that are in an OCAR certified home. And so all you need is to fill out the application, which is at the QR code. You need to send in a copy of your CDIB, the proof that the recovery housing facility is OCAR certified, a W-9 for them, and then a letter showing that you live there and what your monthly rent is.
and if you're not sure if it's OCAR certified, go to ocar.org.
Mm-hmm.
And it will give you a list of all the OCAR certified homes.
Yep. Oxford is not an OCAR certified program.
Unfortunately.
We know a lot of people are in Oxford. However, OCAR, the organization, does have a grant that can pay for, just general housing assistance, but it's for specific counties. I know Custer and Comanche
8
County,
counties.
and Beckham. And so if you're living in those, we also have a Facebook post up for that. And you don't have to be a tribal member for those services. And then March 29th at the Give Miles ERC, they're going to have a benefit dance for Arapahoe Sundance sponsor, Trevor Trosper. There will be a lot of raffle items, a lot of activities, a lot of dancing. And so, go out to that. It'll be a great dance. And then March 28th through the 30th, a few of us will be at Trail of Hope, which is going to be in Tulsa at the Embassy Suites. It is a Native American sobriety conference. On Saturday, we will be gourd dancing. Yeah, we'll be doing a presentation that evening, and then gourd dance. And so, come out.
Come battle.
I think we'll have the podcast set up for everybody in attendance, whoever wants to share. But yeah, yep. That's all I got. I mean, now we got to hear their Women's Wednesday plan.
Yeah, we got to hear their game plan.
Their game plan.
They're getting it together, but we're just happy.
I think they're gonna have some cool LED light shows and everything too. Fireworks.
Yeah,
all of it.
Yeah, the whole shebang. Mm-hmm. So that's pretty cool. That we just have. Some Prevenger, part of the Prevenger team, just ready to get on. Like they're back there, like really game planning. So. I'm pretty excited.
Yep, they're getting in the zone. They're locking in
plans.
I know. I can't wait to see.
So watch them just get all nervous and start looking at each other. But
so what'd you do yesterday?
Be all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do have a little toe. Look.
Yeah. I did get a discount on my toenails.
So so tune in. That will probably be after lunch, maybe
I don't know. We got to meet the. We're mentoring the Kickapoos at 2. So
on Zoom.
no, they're coming here. So
What?
maybe after 2. Oh,
Yeah, it'll be
Dave
this
Levi
afternoon.
wants to know, can you get a share on what step 2 meant for you, Barry?
On what step two? I would have to say that what step two meant for me was, understanding that, I had to have that open mind. I had to see that, it wasn't the creator that left me. It was me who walked away from the creator. And it's kind of like, you know, um, I've been operating off of self will. All through my addiction, I operated off of self will. Like every time I went for a beer, every time I smoked a joint, every time I hit the pookie, like every time I put a needle in my arm, like every time I popped a pill, crushed a pill, snorted it, whatever it was, like all these different things. Like every time I decided to do that, it was like I stepped away from the creator and I thought that I had the answer for everything. And that was obviously the best answer I had. So, I guess acknowledging my creator, Mahio, was a huge step for me because then, you know, uh, I started asking for God's will. I learned that very early on in my sobriety. Is asking for God's will. I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know what God's will meant, but I knew what it didn't mean. So like coming to step two, it was like, I realized that I didn't have to do this thing alone. So in order to have a higher power, when was I going to give up my will? When was I going to quit doing things my way? You know what I mean? Like that's my problem. That's like my biggest problem is I always want to win. I always want to win. I don't want to take no L's. I don't ever want to learn my lesson. I was in survival mode. I never learned my lesson in survival mode. But if I learned anything, it was like how to sit down and get out of the creator's way. So step two, and it's crazy because I just had a good talk with Stefan over, step two the other day. And it was like I was like on a good, I'm sitting there like yelling at the room at the phone because I was on the road, like, and then, like I was
Yelling
on
at
a
the
road. Yeah,
earpiece.
yeah. But I mean, you know, I think about, I was almost operating as an agnostic, and I've been told, that being an agnostic, is the meaning of that word is, like you've never been taught about a higher power. You know what I mean? Like the meaning, like the Latin meaning of that is like uneducated about God. And I've always acknowledged a God, but I've never really like put the faith in to allow him to do his work in my life. That's one thing that I've really got to say has made a difference in my recovery is not only acknowledging but actually believing that he has a better way for me. And since I've been able to do that, man, it's brought me to a pray a place of peace that I never imagined. Like once like I said, I've always prayed, I've always acknowledged God, but I've never had that faith to believe and actually given my problems to him. I always wanted to solve everything myself. So my biggest problem was I like to play God. And I'll say that over and over and all the time people that don't understand, like they'll laugh at me, which is okay, because if somebody told me that when I was getting sober, I would have laughed at them. Like, how do you think you're God? Like, how do you even compare? Like, no, I'm not even comparing, that's what I do is when I turn to these substances, that's me playing God because I think I have a better answer than what he was actually trying to teach me and show me and have me go through so I can become a better person. I didn't have the time or patience or, the faith. It was the faith that I didn't have. So, actually sitting down and wondering, like, where do I play God? How can I give up my will and allow the Creator, to step in and do His job? So, I mean, step two with me, it became about replacing my fear with my faith. I've always acknowledged God. I've always had all of that going on, but I never actually believed in my prayers, if that makes sense. Like believing in what I asked for.
Empty prayers, just
Yeah.
saying it, just
Yeah,
to say
just
it.
like I think I'm supposed to be praying for this, that, and that, pray for myself last, and then I should be good.
Yeah, checking the boxes.
Yeah, checking the boxes as I go down my list. Yeah, that's how it's supposed to go. So I should, good things should be happening to me. But no, that ain't, it was actually understanding that my higher power, because like I always say, if this God thing isn't real, then I'm a dead man. That's the easiest way for me to put it, is that if this God thing isn't real, then I'm a dead man. So I think about where my life has gone and the purpose that I have, and the direction that he's turned my life, and I gotta give, all praise to the Creator. I couldn't do this without him.
Esther said, "If the God be in me, then the King I be." Run DMC.
Hell yeah. Yeah.
At this point,
That
we
was
need
right
to
on
have
time.
we need to have lyrics that tie to the
right.
meditation every morning. We need to
That
figure
was
it
right on time. I like that. I like that. But yeah, step two. I could go in, I could spend all day on step two. But yeah, step two is a great one, because you realize you ain't got to do this alone. And it's always a God of my understanding. Not Darian's, not any. You know what I mean? Like I think everybody in this room has their own picture of God.
out.
Like of course it's not going to be the same, but I seen a lot of people get sober. I seen a lot of people get sober, and it wasn't about religion. It was not about religion at all. That's the thing about this, is it's not about religion. It's I don't like my God isn't more powerful than your, you know what I mean? Like it's not that type of deal.
Yeah, he helped me get sober better.
Yeah, like no, it's not that at all. You know, it's the spirituality, and us as natives, we're spiritual people. So I could definitely connect with that side. Burning the medicine of believing in Mother Earth. Like everything has life. And that's how I'm able to find my connection. But not everybody's the same. What may work for me may not work for Darian.
Yep.
Sober up, Darian.
One day. I always wonder what happens if I really did drink that wine Jericho tried to seduce me with back in the
Jerica,
day.
you tried to give him wine?
She tried to seduce me.
You obviously didn't need no wine.
Yeah, I told Zach about it. He's like, "What? You start acting easy after you spit out?" Said,
3 kids later,
didn't even have to act.
look, I'm jinxing you. 3 kids later,
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
I think that's one of those empty prayers that
Yeah.
that Zayla makes Jericho do. Who's Jericho? Please bless us with a baby. Your time.
You know, darn good and well, she's on board, bro.
Mhm. I mean, we're all on board, but you know, whenever it happens, it happens.
So you went and you did yard work yesterday,
Mhm.
but you showed up with cookies.
Yeah, that was at the end of the yard work. Got my bug bites everywhere. So look at this big old thing. This one, my hands all jacked up.
Okay, whatever, Darren. But yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah, I had to reward myself with cookies.
Yeah.
Hmm
You didn't put no pecans in them, but
I know. Yeah, this is me making them, not her.
well, thank you everybody for the comments. Thank you for tuning in. Like, share, follow. Tell your mammy about us. You know, and the ladies, the Prevenger
Be
baddies. You know,
prepared.
yes. Tune in this afternoon. It'll be probably be closer to
3:30,
4. You know, we're not. You know, and
Yeah,
you know,
we can say a time. It's not going to be that time.
but you know, I have complete faith that they're gonna do a great job. So I'm looking forward to it.
Mhm.
You
I
know, hopefully, I probably don't even need to be in the room whenever, because I'll just be over here clowning.
We can let you produce.
Yeah, I'll just
Try to click.
so yeah, we will see you this afternoon. Thank you everybody for tuning in.